these systems are all no-till except the wheat fallow system. And we've had good luck with no-till for a number of years. Recently, there's been some issues with herbicide-resistant weeds causing it more difficult to maintain a pure no-till system. It's still possible, just a little bit more expensive and a little more time-consuming. So these soils out here are deep soils. They're silt loam soils. They hold a lot of water. If you have water, hold maybe 2 inches of available water per foot. And we measure soil water in these studies in all of our dryland cropping system studies. And we measure down to 8 feet in 1 foot increments. And most of the water use, of course, is in the top, 4 feet or so. But we do get a little bit of water down deeper. So we just measure that just make sure we're exploring the whole rooting depth. We have found in other studies that you can get roots down to 8 feet or so, but not very many. So the bulk of them is going to be in the surface. So we measure water to get to what the crop water use is, and also how much water we store during the fallow period, from crop harvest to the next crop's planting. And that fallow efficiency is low, even in the no-till system. We're talking, 20% or thereabouts. So it's not great, depending on the year what it is, but on average it's in the 20%. So we lose a lot of water, and that's one of the rationales for trying to grow more crops, thinking that you're not going to save the water anyways, that you could grow an extra crop. So what we found is the wheat yields don't really vary a whole lot between these systems, because they're all in a fallow system, either fallow after wheat or fallow after row crop. So there's no continuous wheat in the system. So the wheat yields are pretty similar. Now what we find is that in general, sorghum yields are higher than corn yields. And in this study over the last dozen years or so, that's about 40% higher. If you go further north of here, corn becomes more common and the yields become better. And if you go south, sorghum may be more common. So we're kind of in the transition area. But in this study at least, we've had better success with green sorghum than corn. Now for that second row crop, as you expect, they're going to be lower yields. And what we get is about 2/3 the yield in the second crop as we was with the first crop after planting the wheat stubble. And this is consistent whether it's corn or sorghum. And regardless of what crop it's following. If it's following a row crop, you get about 2/3 the yield on average. Now in a high rainfall year, that second crop can be almost as good as the first crop. And if you have a below normal rainfall year, then that second crop can really fall off and be really poor, even if the first crop might be okay. So economics depends on grain prices primarily. So if grain prices are high, growing another crop, even if it's not as yielding as well, can be profitable. If grain prices are low, then it's not profitable at all. So on average, the wheat sorghum fallow has been probably consistently the most profitable crop on average. Not every year, but on average, using quote average long-term prices. So that's a system a lot of people use. Can't remember what else to say here.
Can you talk about the different hybrids you use?
Oh, okay. These plots are 100 feet wide, and the outer 20 feet on each side is border, and then within the 60 foot in the middle, there's 3 20-foot strips of different hybrids. And the reason for the different hybrids is trying to reduce the chance of picking a poor hybrid in a single year. So this is like we tell farmers that they shouldn't plant just one hybrid. So we're doing this here. We're trying to plant 3 to spread out the risk of having a poor one in one particular year. And these are acre-sized plots, and we use just a regular production combine to harvest them, and a weigh wagon to get weights on these. We also, in this study, There's actually 100 acres devoted to this study. And on the opposite end of this field is along a paved road. And we have signs there that explain what we've been doing or what yields we've got. So we write down, what herbicides we apply, what fertilizers, when we plant, when we harvest, what yields there are. So if people can take essentially a self-guided tour just driving by. And this is the only study that we actually do that with, partially because it fits well along the paved road. And we have some people I know look at them, I don't know how much, but it's a chance to get people can find out what's going on, to satisfy their curiosity without having to, stop at the station or anything.